Karinkanta from Nordea Markets. So the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's funny, actually, I noticed we have two Nordea speakers at the same time in another room, so I guess you picked the right room from those two. So, perfect to be here. What I'd like to talk to you about is one of the new applications we've been developing from the last fall called Customer Brain. I'll tell a little bit about the background, why we need it, what it contains, and I'll try to focus on kind of development process. Because in my opinion, the technology is important, but what is even more important is to get the social processes on how to get stuff quickly done, how to get stuff accurately done. So, when you consider a financial company, there is actually quite many different kind of customers who have very different kinds of needs. And I like to split these customers into three groups. So, first one is personal banking customers. And these are kind of the simplest customers for a financial company. All of us are personal banking customers. So it means individuals who have a bank account, they need to be able to sell stuff, maybe they need a mortgage, they have credit cards, and that's almost about it. Maybe some small services on top of it. So actually the complexity with these kind of customers is not that bad. And maybe also when we think about financial technology companies and startups, that's also often where the focus lies, because for the personal banking customers, it's kind of easy to sell better ways to pay something, better ways to move money, better ways to get information on how you're consuming. But then when we go to our companies, commercial customers, then actually things often get a lot more complicated. So commercial and business banking customers are kind of the middle-sized companies we have, from like small companies into maybe 100 million-sized companies. And for those customers, okay, they do have the same needs as a personal banking customers, but they also have commercial loans, a lot of legal complexity. They often import and export, so that often complicates things. They might need interest rate hedging products, so the complication level actually expands quite much. Then the third group that we have are wholesale banking customers, so the biggest customers. And for them, we sell pretty much everything we have in the bank. So everything I mentioned early on, but then we also have very customized analysis services we sell, advisory services, investment banking. These customers might want to list to a stock exchange. They have maybe needs for trade finance products if they're selling stuff to Malaysia and so on. So the complexity with these customers is very big, and this is where we are focusing now in this presentation. A typical customer in a wholesale banking, they are big. They have international presence. They might have very complex company structure. They might have subsidiaries all around the world. We might be selling them services in Stockholm office, in Copenhagen, in Helsinki, in Shanghai, in New York. They might be importing and exporting. They have very complex supply chain processes. So their scope is truly global. And how we serve with these customers is that we don't have one individual team, but we have actually multiple employees in multiple product lines selling different kind of products for them based on the needs they have. So we do have one individual relationship manager or relationship team serving them. But actually, when they want something specialized, for example, they want to have trade, then we actually have different separate units selling transaction banking products. Or if they want to list a stock exchange, then we have Nordea Markets selling advisory for them. So actually, things get very complicated. A lot of people involved in serving those customers, and that kind of service experience we should be able to align. And that's not an easy task at all. So the task that we actually have is to break data silos around different business lines we have. And because in the end, after all, you need some kind of one truth about the customer so that you can talk on different terms when you have 15 people serving the same customer. And what I'm about to tell is how we did this. One thing first is that it's often said that data is the new oil. I know you have heard this quite many times, but I still kind of like the sound of this statement. So yeah, it's really nice because in the bank we do have a lot of data on the customer, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot how we could refine this data into some value, into a good customer experience, maybe even a new product that we can sell. But to be honest, in many cases we're actually not at the stage. I think we need to take one step backwards, because what I'm talking at the moment is that the data is not, in this case, the oil. The data is in this part is actually kind of a blood, because if we don't have the data, if we don't have the blood running in the data veins, then we're actually dying. So let's make sure first that we have the blood running, and after that start refining the data forward. Okay, this is how it kind of started, I think maybe a year ago. We heard about this kind of case that there was one of the executive sales managers. She was serving actually one of the biggest companies here in Sweden, and she wanted to get what are we actually selling on this customer last year? What all exact sales have we done to it? How much income are we getting on this customer? Which of course kind of new, if your job is to be responsible for this customer, it is kind of nice to know now how valuable this customer and what we haven't yet sold for this customer. So she sent email, please investigate. And then people started running around, and quite many people actually started running around, a lot of trainees, a lot of juniors. And I don't know how much time they spent, but after a week, she got a pile of paper, I think like 15 emails, like at least this and this and this. And actually in January, we had this special case for this customer. So it was really like, she was really overwhelmed that, okay, this cannot be like this. So then we started thinking about that maybe we could serve something better for these managers. So the problem often is not the data wouldn't be available. Yes, there is data. There are shitloads of data available. For example, these that I mentioned, customer relationship management system and common data warehouse and customer profitability systems, they are all actually quite big systems that do have the data consolidated as such, but no one is unifying these kind of master databases into super master database. Then, of course, we have different kind of legacy databases surrounding them, and then, of course, these guys also lying a little bit here and there. So the challenge we're facing here actually is that the truth is out there, and we are kind of the FBI agents trying to dig out that what is the actual one truth on the case. And the solution that we started to investigate and develop is called a customer brain. To be honest, I can tell to you that in my opinion, it's maybe a little bit of an overstatement because it's just collecting the data together. But of course, when we try to sell this product internally for 30,000 employees, it's good to have this kind of also the marketing value as high. But what we want to get into this customer brain is multiple data points. So firstly, actually, we do have quite many data points available. They just haven't been consolidated into one distribution tool. So, for example, we do have the CRM data available in the CRM system, and actually mostly in quite nice format also. Then we have also what we are actually selling, those we have in the corporate profitability system. We have the product information, we have the know your customer information, which is mandatory. And those are available, but you might need a new application to open up exactly that database, or this database. And then we are also using external data. So for example, what is the customer's turnover from some external sources, such as like Burrow and Dick or Bisnode. But at the moment, they are in different places. And we also know that there is quite much information that we are not consolidating into one place. So these are kind of, okay, this is a situation that we have had, I think, in September. So some of these data points that we do have here actually have been sold. But exactly what is interesting here, the bottom part, so part of which data that we have not yet or which hasn't been manipulated is this newsfeed information. One interesting story which we told, and now I haven't told you, but I'm still telling, don't tell my boss about it, is that there was some sales managers went to meet one customer. And then in the meeting, the customers was, yeah, you didn't know that we had layoffs last week, big restructuring. And the guys were like, yeah, of course we knew. Of course we knew. And of course, they should have known this kind of stuff when they go to a customer meeting. But of course, as a busy sales manager, you don't necessarily always have the time to read all the news, what's happening all the time. so it is kind of easy to miss, especially if it's not the biggest headlines of the news. So for the managers, it would be quite valuable to get the news kind of summary. What's happening with this customer in general? Is there anything big? Has the customer maybe expanded internationally or had some major sales or maybe bought a company? This kind of stuff they should be pushing forward. And at the moment, well, of course, we can just feed all the news that mention Nokia or all the news that mention Ericsson. But I think that's not usable data. That's just too much data. It's not refined data. And for that purpose, I think we actually do need more advanced analytics. We do need some kind of NLP solutions to get summary of this most important news out there. So this is actually something we are working on. It's really nice when we realize that there are quite many nice Python packages that can get it like this working. So now, actually, probably in the next version we have of the customer brain, we will have some kind of solution having these news summaries as part of the customer page. Okay, so looks very nice. A lot of data points to consolidate into one application. So how to make it happen? Well, we're a big bank, so surely it's worth the investment. So let's pour in millions and millions and millions and millions here. So when we started investigating and discussed this with a higher management, I think it started as let's make it big. But so the initial setup that we considered and that was proposed to us was that let's do it kind of in a conclusive way. Let's make it big with big B. So the first kind of consideration was that let's tap into these different databases that we have and then build an intermediate database where we consolidate all this information into one place. And that would be actually quite nice. Then we would have a master database, and then we can just distribute that through some applications to the end user. And then also the analysts who want to maybe dig more into the data, they can also tap in this intermediate place. But you know, this might take years. We want to have some solutions yesterday, not within like 4 years and after millions have been saved. So what we actually started then next thinking is that let's do it agile way. So instead of building some master database, let's build it agilely. Let's get some first version going. Let's just use some ETL tool. We decided to have Alteryx as the data preparation and analysis tool so that we can just get the data in one place and get them into files and get some first version for the users. And we decided to have a Qlik as the distribution tool to show to the users. And I think the Alteryx plus Qlik combo was very powerful because we were able to get first version out in, I think, maybe 2 months. So that was very nice. So maybe it doesn't have all the capabilities of having like everything in one place, but at least we got something done and rather quickly. That was super nice. So maybe by saying this in another words, so in my opinion, having this kind of conclusive way of working is building a little bit of waterfall solution. So we need a big investment plans and management attention into it. Then let's hear all the stakeholders, all the 100 people and 100 middle managers who have interest in this case. Then let's start normalizing the data and hire software architect doing it. And then have the data foundation and then think maybe we should also push something for the end user at some point. But what we actually did, we hired 2 juniors, said that you have 4 months time, do a proof of concept. If it's good, let's continue. If it's shit, let's scrap it. Okay, now I'm talking, so we didn't scrap it, but it's actually moving forward, and we're actually now hiring a few more people doing the development. So in the end, it actually seemed that this agile way was both for cost-wise and for the end users, it was more powerful because we were able to roll the first version out. It had some data. It didn't have at all the data points, but it had some key points. And kind of every week, every month with the new version, they were able to get more and more and more. So kind of also the end user felt that they had attention about it, that okay, if I give them feedback, it might be that in 3 weeks there is something new what I requested. So that was really impressive, and I was really happy with this kind of that it actually got working with only 2 guys. And what was even more fun was that these juniors actually they had a business background. So actually, they weren't even technically that advanced, but they actually started learning that here's the Alteryx, start using it, please. We gave like 2-hour demo that these are the basic functionalities, and that was actually enough for them. So the tools were easy enough for them to use and start doing. Of course, we more seniors, we were supporting them, and when they stuck, we helped them. But it wasn't rocket science. It was business analytics, you know. Okay, so what we deliver. This is actually how it looks. I think this is actually a very rather old version. I think this is one of the oldest versions, maybe version 2 we had out. But we have the basic functionalities. So we open up the company, and it shows what is the profitability of this company, what kind of key products we are selling for the company, what is the company's size, how many meetings we've had this company, what is our service strategy for this company, and maybe how much trade to different countries this customer has had. So everything kind of as a one-pager. Okay, of course, now you see there's quite much information. We are kind of doing UX development on there. But in the first version, people were like, okay, this kind of stuff can be taken into one place. That's really nice. But then about the process, that how we actually got, what were the key points on why it was able to be done this quickly. And I could say that we maybe had three main points that had to be in place for this kind of stuff to get done. Firstly, we had a strong vision from the customer side, and the customer here is the internal customer, so the relationship manager serving the customer. So they had a kind of idea that if we just had maybe this and this in one place, we could serve the customers better. So the buy-in from the end users was actually good, and we also had their management attention on this. So it didn't kind of come from our team or the IT, but it was more pulled that this just has to be done. Who can deliver, please? Then the cross-unit collaboration. So as mentioned, we have multiple product lines. We have different branches. Of course, some customers might be served in 5 different countries. So we need a cross-unit collaboration. And we need higher senior management buy-in so that they also comply with these collaboration rules. But finally, what is the very most important thing is that we had a small, fully empowered team. So we had a team who had a mandate to work. They had freedom to work, and kind of they also had a right to say no if something was, in their opinion, stupid or hindering the process of development. So I'm not stealing any credits because these are the actual guys who did get the stuff done. I'm just talking head here. So Sami and Ville were the 2 guys who actually, these are the juniors who got it done in 4 months, and then we had a team lead who was helping them out a lot. But the key points here was that the team was small and efficient. They weren't even technically advanced users, but they were motivated. They were small. They were able to communicate easily, and they were able to do it in an efficient manner. Then we work in a truly agile manner, so we were able to deliver quickly new versions. Always when something was broken, incorrect, not that good, then they were able to get deliveries. But then this was done in the business side. So this was done by sitting next to the users. And that is something which is often forgotten, in my opinion, in all the IT development, that ITs or developers, they sit far away from the user. But here they were close to business, they were listening to business, and IT was just a technology. In the end, it was the customer was the king, and this was very important. And finally, there was full senior level management buy-in into this stuff, so they were able to focus on the users, not on kind of stakeholder management. Because, you know, in this kind of big cases, it often comes so that there's some middle manager who wants this or wants, could you please prioritize my product line? Could you maybe do a little tweaking here and there? But since they had the senior management attention, they were able to say that no, the customer value is by our analysis here. We'll focus on that, you'll get your stuff next. And they had the balls to say this. And this was very important for the development, that they were able to do and focus on their own work. Okay, so summa summarum, I think what is essentially here is that it's better to get something done than build like castles in the sky that sometimes do get delivered, sometimes maybe not so. So do something, be agile, and be fast. Thank you.